Hi, I'm Jessica and I'm here with PRT guru Peter Muller, and we're going to talk about the sustainability of PRT. Now, Peter, I've heard that PRT is sustainable, but why is this?
Well, Jess, most people think that all transit is sustainable, but this is often not true. Most transit is heavily subsidized. And on average, believe it or not, most transit uses about as much energy per passenger mile as cars. If you look at this chart, and all the light blue bars are from the US Department of Transportation, you'll see that the only thing that's really quite good energy-wise is a van pool, and that's because lots of people are in a van. So energy per passenger mile is low. But if you look at the chart, you'll see commuter rail, rail transit, automobiles, commercial air, passenger trucks, bus transit. They're all around about the same. PRT, which is the two dark blue bars at the top, on average uses about a third of the energy per passenger mile as regular transit. And the reason why it uses so much less, well, there are basically about three reasons. Trips are non-stop, so you don't have the stop-start, which wastes energy. And actually, most PRT systems, even when they stop, they slow down, they regenerate electricity and put it back in the grid. PRT has high average speeds for low maximum speeds, so you don't have to do what, for example, light rail does. Light rail has to accelerate all the way up to 55 miles an hour in order to average 25 miles an hour because it's stopping every mile or so. So PRT, in order to average 25 miles an hour, you do 25 miles an hour. So you don't have all that stop-start, you don't have the wind resistance of the higher speed, and so on. And then finally, with PRT, you minimize the amount of empty vehicles that run around. Now, you do have to move some empty vehicles around, but you don't have to have big empty vehicles running around all day long like you do with the train system. If you've got an 8-car train for rush hour, it's really difficult to reduce the size of that car, so it's only a 2 or 3-car train for off-peak periods, and then to build it back for the peak again. So they tend to run these big vehicles around empty most of the day. Another aspect about PRT is that all PRT systems are electrically powered.
And that's a good thing, right?
Well, it can be. When you use electricity, you have no emissions at the point of use, but you can have emissions at the point of the power production. So if a PRT system is running off an electricity grid where the power is generated by coal, for example, it's not very environmentally friendly.
Okay, so what else makes PRT sustainable?
Well, one of the things is compared to, for example, an electric car, which could be quite effective and get quite good mileage, PRT uses less resources. This is because when you build an electric car, you sell it to one person, they're only going to use it 3 or 4 times every day. With a PRT vehicle, it's public transit. So every teapot that you build is going to be used anywhere from 30 to maybe 100 times in a day. So you get much more use out of the manufacture of the vehicles. Also, a car, because it's driven by a human driver, requires a much wider roadway to drive on, and it needs parking spaces. You have to have places where you can leave it during the day when you're not using it. So cars require much more total infrastructure.
Well, PRT sounds really good with that. Is there anything else, though?
Well, yeah, safety. Safety is a huge issue. I just don't think that our present use of automobiles is sustainable. We're killing way too many people. Over 40,000 people per year, just in the US, die in traffic accidents. Did you know that one of the top 3 causes of death amongst people between the ages of about 5 and 45 is automobile accidents? That's scary. PRT promises to be about 2 orders of magnitude, that's 100 times safer than cars.
Wow, well, PRT sounds like an amazing answer for sustainability.
It is, but only if people will ride it. All of the sustainability benefits in the world are no good if the people don't use the system. Fortunately, there are lots of studies that show that PRT will easily double the percent of using transit and sometimes much more. As you can see on this graph, which shows studies from around the world and in the US, the light blue bars are the percent of transit without PRT, and the dark blue bars show how much the transit use goes up with PRT. You can see it always doubles, sometimes many, many more times than doubles. So people will use PRT and it will attract them out of their cars.
Alright, well that's all for this video. Thanks for joining us. Next time we will talk about the Fort Carson PRT project. You can always find more information at www.prtconsulting.com, and you can follow PRT Guru Peter Muller on Twitter at PRT Guru.
So long.